Every year on September 21, the United Nations invites people around the world to celebrate peace by observing 24 hours of ceasefire and nonviolence. Rochester School accepts the invitation of the United Nations to commemorate this day through education in order to strengthen the ideals of peace and alleviate the tensions and causes of conflict, both within and among the nations and peoples. Today, we have a story, My Hiroshima, which is a true story about a little girl who survived the atomic bombing of her hometown in Japan, and through that experience, learned the value of peace. My Hiroshima by Junko Morimoto. Hiroshima is the town of my memories. It is surrounded by green mountains and looks towards the sea. Through it flow 7 beautiful rivers. I was the smallest in our family. There was my father and mother, my brother, and 2 elder sisters. Sometimes I liked to be alone. I would stay at home and draw many things. All day I would draw. It was what I loved most. I had many friends, but my best friends were Fumi and Hanuko. We played lots of games. Our favorite was oranges and lemons. Sometimes, summertime was fireworks time. It was fun going with my family to watch the beautiful colors and patterns as they burst overhead. They looked so large and high above the bridge where we stood. I didn't like going to school every morning. I would hold tightly to my brother's jacket and follow behind him. My teacher wore glasses with heavy black frames. I liked him best when he taught us painting. In the winter of my 4th year at school, a big war started. As I grew up, the world around me changed a lot. By the time I reached high school, I had to wear special clothes because the war our country was in influenced everything. There were fewer and fewer goods in the shops. Everyone had to spend their summer holidays doing military exercises. 8:15 a.m., August 6th, 1945. The people of Hiroshima had just begun their day's work. Suddenly, the siren sounded, warning that a plane was approaching. But the siren soon stopped, and everyone went about their work. This day, I had a pain in my stomach and was not going to school. My sister and I were in our room talking. I thought I heard the sound of a plane, but it seemed a long way off and very high up. I was hit by a thunderous flash, an explosion of sound. My eyes burnt. Everything went black. I held my sister. Everything faded away. I thought I was dying. I woke up. I was alive, but my home was completely destroyed. When I crawled outside, I found that the whole of Hiroshima was destroyed. Everything was blown away, torn apart. Everything was burning. The banks of the river were crowded with people. Everyone wanted to be near the water. There was a child screaming, trying to wake up her dead mother. I was very lucky. My family were all alive, and we were together, sheltering in a cave. Father's face was badly burnt and swollen. My brother's back was full of pieces of glass from the window he was sitting beneath. My eldest sister had her teeth sticking through her lip. She had been using chopsticks. We watched as hundreds and hundreds of people escaped from burning Hiroshima under the strong sunlight of summer. Every school became a hospital for the badly injured. I heard people screaming and moaning in pain, and there was a horrible smell of burnt skin. Many people died, one after another. Their bodies were taken to the school's playing field and burnt. Several days later, we heard the announcement that the war was over. Half a year passed. The students who had survived went back to their schools. From the dirt of the burnt earth, I took an aluminum lunchbox with burnt black rice inside. I found the bones of many of my friends. Many, many years have passed, and I have returned to my school again. It is still a miracle that I survived. All I see now is clean white ground and peaceful images of young students who are just like I was so long ago. Now for some facts about the bombing of Hiroshima, Japan. At 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945, an atomic bomb was dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. This was the first time such a bomb had been used in warfare. 70,000 people died instantly. Another 70,000 died by the end of 1945. At the end of 1950, the total was 200,000. Even today, people are dying who survived the initial blast. These figures are estimates supplied by the city of Hiroshima in a report to the United Nations. This report also states that within 1.5 kilometers of the hypocenter, the bomb blast would have been the equivalent of a hurricane with a wind force of 90 meters per second. Every year on the 6th of August, the city of Hiroshima hosts a remembrance ceremony, which thousands of people from around the world attend. Here's a monument that was erected in Hiroshima. Let all the souls here rest in peace, for we shall not repeat the evil. I'd like to share also a note from the author for parents and teachers. In My Hiroshima, I have chosen to tell the story of the first atomic bomb explosion through my childhood memories, so that young children will be able to relate the story to their own lives. Hiroshima is my hometown, where I was born. I grew up in a pro-war society, never learning the value of peace or imagining the real Holocaust of war. It is still frightening to remember that time when even children were trained in war, taught that suicide came before surrender. When the war ended, and for the first time in my life, I could appreciate peace, I was standing in the middle of a burnt land. It was a miracle I and other members of my family survived both the day of the attack and afterwards. For several months during that year's winter, my mother had an intense fever, which almost took her life. My sister and I also endured the fever. It was not until much later that we learned this was radiation sickness caused by exposure to the atomic bomb explosion and fallout. War, the atomic bomb. Only human beings have produced them. They are the crimes of adults who forget the precious value of life. I believe it is the duty and the responsibility of adults to teach our children the importance of not repeating these mistakes and to give them the heart to care for and value all life on earth. Junko Morimoto.
And now we have some comprehension and reflection questions for you to discuss with your children or your students. So first, discuss these questions after you listen to the story. What do you know about World War II, which occurred from 1939 to 1945? Has anyone in your family experienced war? Which country dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan? Soon after the bombings, the Japanese surrendered. The war ended and there was peace. Was using the atomic bombs the right choice to bring peace to the world? Are there countries today who have the capability to use nuclear weapons? What should we do to ensure that this event in history does not repeat itself? And finally, how can we commit, each one of us, to world peace?